What's up, you guys, and welcome to the first video in a continuing series. That doesn't really make any sense if you're new to the channel, but basically this is the first edition of the Star Wars character series that I'm doing of Midi-scale character builds from Star Wars. And you'll probably notice, again, if you're new to the channel, that this is predominantly dominated by droids, and that is because previously droids are all I was making. But then some clever clogs down in the comments was like, why don't you make a clone trooper? And then since I did that, it was no longer a droid series. And then now the floodgates have been opened to doing organic creatures and characters from Star Wars. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the two newest ones that I've done, the Child and a Porg from The Last Jedi. And these are two builds that are really, really tiny, but took an extraordinary amount of brain power on my part to try to figure out how to actually get them to look halfway decent and to actually fit in with the overall style that I have for my character series. So yeah, we're gonna get right in and take a look at some of the little details and things that I put into these builds. And if you guys are enjoying the series so far, and if you're excited for brand new videos in this updated kind of continuation of that, drop me a like down below. I really appreciate it. The channel has been growing very, very nicely, and I've really been appreciating all the support you guys have given me. So let's keep that going. All right, you guys, so let's jump in and take a look at the builds. I just wanted to give you guys a look at the, up a little bit closer, the smallest builds that I have, you know, Dio and BD1 alongside of these guys, because they really are just so tiny, and I just wanted to emphasize that before we take a look at them specifically. And the fun thing is, when I was doing my research for this to see how big these should be in relation to BB-8, which was the first one that I ever did in the series, and so everything scales to him. BB-8 is 26 inches tall, the Child is 16 inches tall, and a Porg is 10 inches tall, which means that BB-8 is the same height as a Porg standing on the head of Baby Yoda. And now I'm just imagining that this is what's happening inside of BB-8. There's a Porg standing on top of a Baby Yoda piloting BB-8 from the inside, and I can't get that image out of my head. All right, so here is the Child. The reason that I'm calling it that is people don't really know what to call this because it doesn't have a name yet. I don't want to reveal what part of the canon this is from in case some people are behind on their recent Star Wars, but a lot of people on the internet you've probably seen are calling it Baby Yoda because it is a member of Yoda species and it is an infant. So it's just simple to call it Baby Yoda. But yeah, officially in canon it's referred to currently as the Child. So this is a really, really tiny build, obviously. And I think one of the most challenging parts of it was keeping the head really, really narrow like this, and then just getting the eyes to be the correct proportion in comparison to the rest of it. And then for the body, it relies on actually quite a few specialized pieces, like these relatively new two-sided modified bricks with the plates on just the two corners there, to get just kind of the shape of this sort of weird skirt sack piece thing that he wears. And then using relatively new, the new bracket piece here, the one by one, next to the 1x2, just to be able to get the collar to fit on this little space right here, because it's a, you know, it's a 3-wide build, but then it kind of sticks out of the side here a little bit. His head is built entirely upside down, so the ears just kind of fit in there. There are these little interesting kind of tooth-looking pieces in the sand green, and then I have a modified brick here with the studs on top and bottom to kind of switch the directions of the head so that the body, which is built upside down, can then accommodate the head, but then the top of the head still has studs on it. So it's just a really interesting, weird little thing, and proportion-wise it's very difficult to capture as well because he's so tiny, and you don't want to, like, you know, you want to do it justice, right? And getting like the shape of the ears and stuff, you still have a little bit of the green sticking out at the bottom here, but at least I have the indication of the inside of the ears, the color there. So I don't know, it was a really tricky one. I went back and forth a lot on the proportions, but I think I am pretty happy with where it is now. Oh, and a nice little kind of byproduct of using this this 1x1 tile piece down here is that you get this little line, and the little line kind of gives you sort of an indication for his mouth, which I think works out really, really well. And then just for the sides here, I just used Technic half pins, which are plugged into the side, kind of shoulder socket. And then I'm using slightly illegal technique of just plugging in this modified brick into that. And it works perfectly well, and it gives you a nice swiveling arm. And there's even enough friction in there for it to hold a pose, like, you know, reaching out, or, you know, keeping the hands down, whatever you want. But it is, like I said, an illegal technique because there's not an official way that fits in there other than just friction. But yeah, I go with that. I think as long as it's not stressing the parts, I don't think it's a big deal. So yeah, there is the child. And let's call him Baby Yoda. There's Baby Yoda. It sounds less creepy. And yeah, I think he's an adorable little addition to the collection, and I'm glad that the first thing that I thought of when considering organic characters to add to the series was to do this little guy. All right, and then here we have the Porg. Hated by some, loved by many. I am one of the people who love this design. I think it's such a cute little thing. And a really interesting inclusion because it's something that was kind of a part of the challenge of shooting where they did on Skellig Michael in Ireland. There's a ton of natural wildlife there. I believe puffins, you know, fly all over the island. So there was just no way for them to shoot footage there and not see a ton of birds flying around. And so what Rian Johnson smartly did was, instead of saying, let's spend a bunch of VFX budget to, you know, remove those from the shots, how about we just canonize them and make a little puffin looking thing? And it's, yeah, that's what we end up with, is the Porg. So this guy was also super tricky to figure out, mostly because it's so condensed, and I really wanted it to be as short as possible so that it wasn't it wasn't taller than Baby Yoda. This probably should be a little bit smaller still, but I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. And I'm using these eyes from the recent Aragog that was in the Harry Potter sets that kind of give you that big, shiny, you know, swimmy eye look. And I like the little bit of gray kind of eyelid around it too. I feel like that kind of goes well with the Porg look. He has a little mouth open because that's, you know, you see them kind of doing their little screech. And I kind of feel like that's the iconic look for it now. And also the shape of the stud in there kind of gives you this nice upturned mouth like what the Porgs have too. But yeah, it was tricky because, again, just figuring out how to transition into the sideways building while still maintaining the kind of the bottom part of the attachment points to get the different parts to attach where I want them to. It just takes a little bit of figuring out, and it's never super easy. But luckily, you know, Lego has so many great, unique little parts right now that help kind of, you know, smooth over those little areas. Like these 1x1 brackets down here have been an absolute miracle. There's so much stuff that you can do now that you could never do before because those exist. So it's really cool. Yeah, bravo Lego, and if you're listening, keep on making more of those specialized pieces that help us to create new shapes and get new things. So, but yeah, as far as this actual, you know, Porg goes, there's nothing too special to it. I mean, I tried to get the color scheme to follow down through here with the little tapered off like side feathers, and try to get the shape nice and round for the head and give him his little black tail. But yeah, I mean, you know, he's got little posable fins. He could be like Baby Yoda, like reaching out, trying to get a hug, or he can kind of be in his more natural bird-like configuration with the wings back slightly, and that's how I like to keep it. And if I ever get around to building a Chewbacca, this guy will definitely want to steer clear of him, because if you guys saw The Last Jedi, you'll know that Chewbacca and Porgs don't mix. But yeah, I think these are going to be a really interesting addition to this series, where previously I had just not considered doing any organic creatures, because I think droids, there's just something about Lego that goes with droids really well, and it's harder to translate things like this, but I think for certain creatures and things like that, it'll work. I'm definitely not going to start doing like human builds, like with human faces, because that's going to get weird and creepy really fast. I already feel like C-3PO was pushing it, and it was really a challenge to get something that looked vaguely humanoid. So I think I'm going to just be sticking to little fun creatures like this, or, you know, maybe not necessarily little, but creatures that are more kind of alien and easy to identify and more kind of caricatured than straight up people. Like, I'm not going to be making a Luke Skywalker, for example. But yeah, so one other thing I wanted to show you guys is while I was doing the comparison to BB-8, I decided to do a little improvement to him, which I haven't done since the beginning, which is to give him the little thumbs up. I just gave him this little kind of opening hatch looking piece right here that can be easily removed, you know, and then the little arm with the thumbs up flare. So BB-8 approves of the new designs, and that makes me happy, and the child is happy too. All right, you guys, so there's the collection as it currently stands. Thank you so much to Instagram user Callum Frazoni for the original suggestion of doing a Porg. That was a great idea. And I really do read all of you guys' feedback and comments, so do leave those down below if there's something that you want to see. I will definitely consider it, and if there's ideas that I like, I will certainly jump on that. I'm going to get to work on the next creature slash droid slash alien, whatever it may be, and I'll bring that to you guys as soon as I can. So thank you so much for watching, for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. It's been really awesome to see. I really appreciate you guys so much, and may the Force be with you.